All right. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, all right. Well, hi everybody. I'm Ian. I'm a lighting artist from Argentina, a long way from, I think, pretty much everything. So, yeah. You ever have on stream somebody from South America or no?
I think I have. I think I have. I mean, it's. I'll be honest. I don't usually pay too much attention other than like making sure everything is going smooth.
All right.
But yeah.
Um,
But yeah. So lighting artist. How long
so
have you been doing that?
I've actually started studying lighting around 2 years ago, I think, and Unreal, of course, I think three and a half or 4 years maybe. But I decided to focus mainly on lighting because I think it's much more viable to get in the industry if you are more specialized than if you are a
Mm,
generalist. In my opinion, I don't know if that's true or not, but
I
I
guess.
really like lighting,
Mhm.
so that's what I went for.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's really important that you enjoy what you do, right? Because if you're enjoying it, you're gonna be in it more. You're gonna be more passionate about it, and the quality will. I think you'll get better faster if you're enjoying it. Um,
Yeah, and if you focus all of your time in one thing, I think that you could be better in less time than if you're trying to do, I don't know, 100 things, but maybe
mhm.
half of them halfway there. So I think I picked that up really quick, and yeah, decided to focus on lighting, which is actually a huge, I mean, huge subject in games, movies, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a 20-year career, and actually it never ends. But yeah,
No, that sounds. I mean, that sounds accurate. It doesn't end. You're always learning. That never goes away either.
yeah.
Um,
If it's not the technology, it's maybe some technique that some people came up with. You have to study DPs, directors. I mean, honestly, it's a lifetime journey. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, so I'm looking at your portfolio and I'm seeing some of the more recent or the older stuff is relighting. What is this? This is 8 months ago, which isn't really all that old. Um, so there's relights, relights. Is there any scenes that you've built on your own?
On my own,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I have done a few personal projects, but they are not uploaded. It's in my Twitter, actually, if you wanna check that out.
Oh yeah.
Um,
We could dig around
yep,
there.
I
But
don't think
I
you
mean,
have.
I think it's important to highlight that like when you're either a combination of learning or like just exploring and kind of like stretching the muscles. It's like going to the gym. I think doing relighting scenes is really good. Like there shouldn't be. I've seen some people that are like, oh, I don't know about that because I didn't make all of it. And it's like, man, when you're a lighting artist in the industry, I think the most you're making is light sources, like the meshes for them. And if you're lucky, um, artists are making those for you, right? And then they're requesting
Yeah,
a lighting setup be built for it. Um,
yeah.
so
I
yeah,
mean,
this is
actually,
cool.
the main focus for me was like, okay, I'm not gonna bother doing a scene that could take me months or years. I actually don't know how long it would take me. But a simple scene could take you at least a month or two if you want to achieve good quality.
Hmm.
So I decided to go mainly for relighting scenes because I could concentrate on the lighting only and not be distracted by the many things that call for attention when you're building an environment. And when you have a good environment, then you can showcase your lighting on the best setup possible
Yeah,
instead of a mediocre scene that I could build in 2 or 3 months and not showcase the good lighting that I could achieve
yeah, yeah.
otherwise in a good scenario. So that's why I usually never build scenarios. uh, mainly for time purposes.
Right.
But I don't know.
No, I mean that
I've
makes a
been
lot of sense,
following.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I mean,
ahead.
I've been following, of course, your advice and many others in the industry. And when it comes to lighting artists, when they all come together and agree on one thing, it's that you mainly need to use somebody else's scene. It can be either free, which you can find on Marketplace, like I did with all of them, except for the last one with the Victorian Street. But you have pretty good scenes in the Marketplace for free which you could practice. And if you achieve a good quality, maybe you can put that in your portfolio.
Yeah.
So I decided to go with that, not waste any time doing environment art, which I'm probably not gonna apply for a position in environment art. So I decided to focus on lighting only. I don't know if that's okay or not. If maybe
I mean,
for a
honestly,
lighting
I think that's all
position.
right.
All right,
Because
cool.
there's some really really big lighting artists where I mean their portfolio has photography in it, right? And they're not
Yeah,
even so they're looking at just raw composition. Which when I look at your work, you're looking at camera angles and you're trying to frame stuff, not only
yeah,
in the with the lighting but also with the way that the camera is positioned itself. Um, it's pretty
yeah.
cool as well because I'm seeing scenes that are like oh I remember this scene, and then seeing it in a different lighting. I think probably one of the bigger feedbacks I would give for these is to
Mm-hmm.
just see like maybe an image at the very end that shows what it was before you did the relighting. That way we can understand the biggest difference in like the mood that you'd set. Because this is I can remember this one pretty clearly,
Yeah.
but I still feel like this the shot that I'm looking at right now. This one feels like pretty close to the other one, but I think the other one was maybe greener or cooler.
Yeah,
Um,
it's actually greener and has a lot more contrast. Yeah,
right. Okay. Yeah, because I mean the lighting that you have going on in here is subtle, like in film. It has a film feeling to it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think. Sorry if I go back to that. If we're at the very end, I'm just gonna make everyone sick here. If you're at the very end here, if we had like just a single image that showed all the originals and maybe like the where it came from, that way people know that it's clearly like this is the scene before the relight. I think that would be really
Mm-hmm.
good because then you can compare and contrast the differences in the mood that you shifted. Because a lot of the times the relighting is like lighting is all about mood in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a lighting artist, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I always thought about that. Maybe adding, I don't know, detail lighting, screenshots, or maybe I don't know the setup in Unreal. But I never found the point in doing that. But maybe, yeah, you're right. I think I'll add at the bottom the original scene, at least one or two shots, maybe for I don't know if comparison would be the word, but maybe people could see what was the original like and might really like take.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, I really think that would be nice. I wonder if I don't know if ArtStation supports the wipe filter. Um,
hmm,
it's the one where like you can grab a bar and you can move it and go between two images. It's like the compare.
yeah, no, I
I
don't
forget what
think
it's
it
called.
does.
I don't think they support that. Man, that would be amazing because then you could maybe at the end two or three shots that are the exact same camera angle and you're just showing the differences in how the mood and the lighting are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
But
yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
but but these are really I mean the Paul in chat Polygon was saying in chat that well a lot of people in chat are like dude this guy's talented or like super beautiful artwork. Um, there's a
Really?
really strong I dude this is really strong for like you're not in the industry yet.
No,
No,
not yet.
and you said you've been doing this for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, and are you
The first one I posted, it's the first one I posted
this one?
8 months ago.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
actually I've been learning and practicing since 2 years ago. Yeah.
yeah. That's crazy, man. I'll I'll have to show some people at work this because this is it's pretty nice, man. Um, Polygon in chat was saying that there's a really strong diversity in the work that you have on here, and it's like lots
Okay.
of different moods and like different feelings that you're getting from the pieces. I think I what I wanted to do. Let me go through the last of these. Yeah, man, there's some just some really cool natural lighting shots that you have going on as well. Like this kind of looks like the what would you say this lighting is? The like almost the golden hour. Kind of feels
Yeah,
like it, anyways.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
a an afternoon, late afternoon.
yeah. Is there are these last images down here? Is this the default lighting, or is this just another pass that you had done?
No, it's just another pass. It's around midday.
Okay. That feels kind of cold. That's crazy. Um, no, these are awesome. I you were saying that the most recent one, the Victorian Street one, was a
Yeah.
little different. What's the story with that one? Did you actually do more than like this one looks like you actually put it together, no?
Yeah, that's actually the combination of the last few studies I've been doing. I always felt like my other works were lacking something. That's why I added characters and maybe a little story. I'm not
Hmm.
there yet with sequencer and animations, but I'm still learning actually.
Yeah.
So maybe in my next piece, I would like to add a short video
Oh,
with a
dude,
little story. But
that would
yeah,
be
this
amazing.
one, yeah, but I mean, it's too much. Honestly, sometimes it can feel overwhelming, the
Hmm.
amount of things that you need to study and learn. I mean, animation only, and I'm not talking about animating a character, but I'm
Yeah.
talking the animation pipeline within Unreal. Man, it's too much. Uh,
I
no,
mean,
no,
I guess it's a good
I'm
thing you're doing lighting,
serious.
because like
Yeah.
for me, lighting is already quite a bit. Like there's so many things going on there, and I guess it's technically it differs between engines, right? But then the theories and the ideas of how to do lighting for either cinematography or game development is all about like mood and capturing the image in a way that describes what the game is trying to do, right? So you're it's all I guess in games it's all about mood because you're freely moving around. Um, but yeah, I think learning all of those tools, it's good that you're focusing on it in the way that you are, because I would highly suggest that the way you've approached it is how I would suggest people do it is if you want to do lighting, just boil down and get into it, get through all the bugs and the issues of trying to figure out how lighting works in Unreal, for example. And then now, I mean, this stuff is really nice, man. This image is a little dark for me, but I also kind of feels like maybe it's the style choice that, like it's intentionally dark. Um,
Yeah.
but uh, now the next step for you, it sounds like, is to be pushing more of the storytelling, and it sounds like
Yeah.
animation is one way. I think if you were to be doing camera work, getting the camera work going and then jumping to animation, that's the order that I would do it in. But I think whatever feels good to you is the order that you should do it. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
actually agree with you. I'm at the moment I'm learning camera movements, camera angles, everything related to camera, aperture, ISO,
Mm,
which are not directly relatable to Unreal since you don't have to do ISO or aperture. It's more freestyle in Unreal. But actually, I'm trying to learn how a real camera works so
yeah.
that I can apply that to my job and to my scenes and frame it in a specific way, or maybe, I don't know, a different camera lens to achieve a certain result.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I'm actually learning that first. And animation, I'm learning it parallel. but I'm actually leaving it for last
Hmm.
because I think animation it's more complicated than camera movements, and everything related to um,
I
yeah,
mean,
cameras and cinematography.
I'm already seeing really good like framing and like focus on attention to detail with the way that you're framing your shots. Like, dude, this one right here is so wide, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel wide. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times when someone goes super wide, the image just gets either crazy fisheyed or like you lose the focal, like the focal point or like where the attention is. But
Yeah.
you've put your attention in spots that line up really well with like rules of thirds and just overall compositionally pulls it all together again. Super nice. Um, oh, this is nice too. I always like a really um, odd camera angle that you can't usually get physically unless you like think outside of the box in reality. And like a camera angle that's so high up and then looking down, it's like this is like a spider's view. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, it's like seeing it from the perspective of a spider. So I think you're doing yourself a huge favor by getting these types of camera angles because you're also showing lighting in areas that we don't usually think about. And when those look convincing as well as like showing the image of the area that you normally look at, those are, man, it's super cool. Uh,
Thanks.
yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, I think the only real feedback that I had was trying to figure out how to, because I actually don't know how to do this when it comes to the diversity of the lighting and the moods that you have in this portfolio. Is how do you unify these thumbnails? And I don't know. I mean, I wish that maybe like maybe text in a corner or like the way it's framed because like some of the thumbnails the framing is too centered and it's like how
Hmm.
do you frame an image that's square, right? Like this the zero gravity one's really good because like it's so easy to frame up that one, right? But then like
Yeah.
the paragon scene, knowing how to frame that, it's like I don't know if it's like sometimes a really good framing is actually zooming in on a spot and just getting that detail and the gradients of the lighting and then letting
Hmm.
people want to click on it, like making people want to click on the thumbnails is key. um like this one for example, I don't know if it's my screen, but it feels really muted, like value wise it doesn't feel very bright.
Yeah.
Like the contrast isn't there, right? Maybe in like hmm, it's just not as bright. When I look at the other images, there's a brightness variety that's happening between the images as well as like a saturation difference between all of them. Um,
Yeah.
I wonder, without going too far away from the scene that's in the post, I wonder if there's a unified color that you can apply to all of the thumbnails that's subtle. Like you don't want it to, make them all the same, but that kind of pulls them all together a little bit. Um,
Yeah. In one of your streams,
mm,
reviewing portfolios, um, you said you tried to avoid maybe overly big titles in the thumbnails.
yeah.
But yeah, you said maybe trying to tie them all together. So that's why, and this is from you actually, that's why I don't put any logos from
Okay.
Unreal. I mean, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
I mean, you see at a work and you say, oh, this is Unreal. So there's no need for a logo in a thumbnail.
mm,
It's actually distracting, or maybe not wanting to click on the image just because the logo is obscuring something. And that's why I also didn't put any words on the thumbnail. Just
yeah.
when you hover over it, you see the title, of course, but that's my approach. But maybe
I
I
mean, it
should
doesn't have to be
consider.
text. It can be just like like I was saying with the color that kind of brings them together a little bit. Um, it's difficult though. I mean, this might be fine because the pieces are really solid, and I guess the issue is when you have such variety, sometimes the thumbnails just aren't going to work together, right? And I think
Mm,
that
yeah.
it can also be okay in certain scenarios to just leave it as that. Um, if we left them as they are right now, I think the only one that kind of requires some reframing for me would be the Paragon one, just because it feels like I don't know if you're focusing on that middle point, but it's so centered, and I don't really have a context of the scale of the space,
Hmm.
um, other than this tree. But this tree could be really really small as well, right? I don't.
Yeah.
Um, I think the rest are all right if you were to leave them. If you were to try and unify them, I would probably do some type of post color. This sounds really extreme. Post color correction to bring them all together, but then lower that down to like affecting it at like a 10%, so that they all just
Yeah,
kind of
maybe like
have like
a
a yeah
like an overlay. Um,
yeah. As long as
like
it
a
doesn't feel like it destroys your thumbnails, right? Because these look
yeah.
amazing. Um, I what's the other thing you could do? So one of the things with film and the reason that photographed textures and materials like from back in the day and as well as like now with photogrammetry is there's a noise frequency that happens with the way that the lens captures the image. You could try throwing a noise that is blended into every thumbnail that is the same noise frequency, and that might bring them together as well. It's more of a subtle like back of the brain effect that it has.
Hmm.
You could try that. I don't know what type of noise it would be. It's not necessarily like a film grain. It's usually a color based noise. Like I think it's in Photoshop as well. Let me see if I can, like if we just grab,
Yeah, when you go to filter, I think
yeah, yeah. When you go to
filter
filter,
noise
there's
and
noise, and then there's to just add noise. So there's a colored
yeah.
noise, right? And that's pretty extreme. But I think if you really lower it down, it's like 1%. Let's see what that. I'm turning it
You
on or
can
off.
go monochromatic if you want, if you don't want the
Oh yeah,
color.
yeah. So there's because I think by adding the color, that's a unified color that kind of hits across all of the thumbnails. And even though it's so subtle, I mean, this is only 1%, right? Uh,
Yeah.
that could be enough to pull them together. Let me see if that's because this sounds crazy because it's so subtle. It probably doesn't even come through on the stream. Um, but yeah, I would see if there's a way to bring them together, or if there is like if you had Pro and you had the ArtStation websites, those websites can do things to the thumbnails to bring them together as well.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah, actually didn't
yeah,
know
where
it.
they're similar colored or they're like grayscale, and then when you mouse over them, they have the color pop, which could be
Yeah.
that could be interesting because the thing I'm not seeing in here actually is a scene that's black and white. If you could do lighting that's black and white, that would be like proper black and white imagery. That'd be
Hmm.
really cool. Some like
Nice.
noir type stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
but no, this is super awesome, man. It sounds like you've already talked about where you're wanting to take your stuff next with the animation and the camera sequences. I think once you've done that and those start popping up in here, it's going to be very difficult for you to not get a job. I think already if you started applying at the studios you think about going to, you should be able to get a junior position easily.
Yeah, I've actually applied for three companies, I think,
Hmm.
and I I got rejected on all of them.
Really? Did they say
uh,
why?
no, not really. They said they didn't have a position for me in their company, even though I applied for lighting artist.
Oh, right. So okay,
But
so you're applying even though there's not necessarily like cold calls, but you're applying to a place just to see uh, if they would grab you, even though they don't have a lighting position. Is that correct?
No, no. I mean, they. I checked the jobs in art station,
Mm-hmm.
and in the lighting positions, there were a couple of companies looking for a lighting artist.
Yeah.
So I applied there, but I just didn't get in.
Are they are they far? Like, does it require that they move you, move country and whatnot?
Yeah, actually, one of them was splash damage.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was cloud imperium,
Okay.
and the third one was actually here in Argentina. But yeah, I got rejected on all three of them.
Dang, dude. Okay.
Yeah, it
Was
was
that pretty
kind of
recent?
hard.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wouldn't take it too heavy because sometimes, like, imagine it from this perspective: is you have someone applies to your company and you need a lighting artist, but maybe the lighting artist position that they put on the site, even though it's like, let's say it's not junior, let's say it's like a senior position,
yeah,
maybe that senior position internally they know that that person also uh, the art team knows that that person might need to manage other lighting artists, but then
hmm,
the recruiting team, there could be a desync with that, as well as like, oh, maybe we actually need a props artist more than a lighting artist, even though both positions are up. So they will actually
yeah,
prioritize one over the other. So um, in that case or in that scenario, they might want to hire the environment artist before the lighting artist, and so
yeah,
they may start deflecting lighting artists just because they need the prop artist first, um, which sucks because without a proper email back to you to know what your what they didn't like or why you were rejected, it kind of leaves it in the air for you to decide for yourself like what negative feedback you got. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like
So
in the chat, Alexander is saying they never reply for the reason you're not suitable. I mean,
yes,
that's completely true. They say, we don't have a position for you. Goodbye. And
yeah,
I'm like,
man.
okay, so what
I
was
remember
wrong?
when they wouldn't reply, man, at all. Like when
Yeah.
I was getting in, there's just nothing. They just wouldn't say a thing. But yeah, definitely ask them
Yeah,
for feedback and just see if, because the worst they can say is like they won't say anything, or they'll say, "Oh, sorry, we don't have like they didn't have any comment other than they just wanted to pass." Right? But a good studio
yeah,
will always give you feedback. And if they don't in that email, you sticking your neck out, you could get a response back on why. Because a lot of the times it's going to be not what you think, or they'll give you exactly the information you need, and it's an easy fix.
hmm,
And
yeah, you're right.
but the other thing I would suggest is once you're, so it sounds like you're already applying, but once you're starting to apply heavily, or like you're like, okay, I want to get into an industry, like we're we're pretty early into the year still, right? Early-ish. Um, if you were like, I wanted to get a job by the end of this year, like I want to be in the industry, I would suggest applying to 5 studios at a time, and then as you get rejections, send another one out. So you always have 5 live out there. And
Yeah.
if that flow is moving too slowly, add like 2 or 3 more, because the best position to be in is to be stressing about which one to pick when you get 2 or 3 that are like super into it and they want to like hire you. But yeah.
And would you say, for example, when you apply for a position, in this case, lighting artist, they usually don't post any level. I mean, some of them post like we need an associate lighting artist, for example,
Hmm.
but they usually just put lighting artist. Is that for a senior position or a junior position? Should I apply anyway? Um,
Apply anyway. If it looks
okay,
like in the description that you feel like you can match it, you should just go for it. um there's another did that answer your question, by the way?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would just apply because sometimes it might not be clear, or maybe they're really broad and like maybe they're just going to say lighting artist because maybe they actually need to build a lighting artist team, right? Um,
Ah, okay.
and they won't say that it's a team. They're just saying we need a lighting artist, and then they'll
And when they
just
say,
through
for
that
example,
position maybe they'll hire like 5 or 6 people.
all right. And when they say, for example, that they need at least 2 years experience, is that, you know,
For a
I
junior.
don't know the word that's,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
know
that's a
because
really
in
common
every
thing.
post,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's super common. It's always there, right? Like, oh, we know you're just getting into the industry, but we expect you to have 2 years of experience. um, so like
I'm
that can
like,
be an
but
internship,
how?
right? That could be an internship. That could also be some companies will consider schooling, like 4 years of school, as 2 years of industry experience. So when that is a thing that you see on there, just if you feel like you've been studying yourself for 2 to 3 years, just apply. Especially if it's a junior position, just go for it. Um, there was one question in chat that I want to make sure that you hear as well. It's like if you get offered multiple art tests, the best thing you can do, like let's say you apply for 6 companies, the best thing you can do if you get, let's say, 3 art tests, is let all 3 of those companies know that you got an art test at 2 other or 3 other places total, um,
Hmm.
and then let them know when you're going to start their test. Because if they like you enough, they may prioritize you more. They might skip the art test. They might shrink the art test and make it easier. Like
Okay.
there might be things that they're wanting to test and not necessarily a big test, right? So understanding
Yeah.
what the 3 tests would be, and then also letting them know that they've got competition for trying to grab you, which sounds really weird because like you're just getting in. Like, why would there be It gives a sense of like that you're someone that they might want to grab like ASAP.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
just yeah, just let them know. Be upfront with them. Um, and yeah, I've like the last thing I would comment on before I jump to the next call is that the if you get an offer from a company, let another company that you're more, so let's say you get an offer from company A, and then
Yep.
company B is a is the one you really want to go to, like that's like the dream company, for example.
Hmm.
If the dream company is being kind of slow with their responses, just let them know that another offer is waiting and that they need to that you need to know how they're feeling as soon as possible so that you're not letting another company sit there waiting. So then it's not about you; it's about being kind to the other companies around. It might it might
Yeah.
also force their hand and just instantly hire you.
That would have been so nice.
I I have seen it happen. So uh,
Oh, nice.
yeah, just let them know upfront about anything and everything. There's nothing bad about telling them anything. You don't want to hide stuff. But
No, okay.
yeah, did you have one more question before I jump to the next one?
No,
No? All right.
actually, that's all. Yeah.
Dude, super strong portfolio, man. It's crazy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's crazy
Let's
good.
let's hope I can land a job in video games.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we will be in touch because I want to talk to you more about like how you got this far so quickly. But
Okay, no problem,
yeah,
man.
but cool. All right, I'll talk to you later then.
All right.
Thanks for submitting your portfolio, dude.
All right. Thanks, man.
Peace.
See ya.
See ya.